Welcome back. Look at that. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming back. I wanted to show you guys how I got these really juicy, fun, playful, healthy layers. So if you're interested, definitely stay tuned for the video. I got these units from Yo Wigs. They had a 2-unit deal and came with these combs and elastic bands. So starting this off, I wanted to create a guide to let me know where my layers should be. So I began by making a triangle shaped part pretty far back on my frontal, just to ensure that I had enough layers. I didn't just want wispy layers, I wanted full volume. So I parted about 4 inches or 5 inches back on my frontal, and I previously measured from about that distance up on my head with a measuring tape and found that I felt comfortable with 9 inches of hair, like in the front, for a bang, basically 9-inch bang. So I made a smaller triangle before, and this time I'm making it bigger, so that's what you're seeing now. And please guys, please invest in a razor comb. I'm at my mother's house and she does not do hair at all, so she was not equipped, and therefore neither was I. So I may do with these really dull scissors, but I would definitely recommend using a razor comb. It would help this go by a lot faster. I kept this all in to show you guys how much you struggle when you don't invest in a razor comb. But now I'm going to part my triangle in half, and you can kind of see how your bang's gonna fall. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference because the mannequin doesn't have a face. You don't know what it's gonna look like still, but you measured it on your head before, so you know. So now you go to the part of the lace where your ear would be, and you gradually part upward in a curve ending in your middle part, and you're going to pin the hair back, and you can see the hairs that are your guide, and you use that to gradually snip away, not snip, but like shred, since I'm using scissors, but you shred away according to the gradient that you already had in your guide, and that helps make sure that things fall like fluidly. Now, to help your cut go smoothly, you want to make sure your hair is damp the whole time. Damp. But you want to make sure the hair is damp so it's not flying away, and you have more control over the strands and the pieces and where they're going. And you can see here, I'm very much so following that gradient with all of my might. I'm gonna be honest, this is my first time layering hair to this extent, so I really took my time, but I'm sure there are faster methods. I just was being really anal about it. But yeah, I'm still parting and following the gradient. I don't want to, my gradient's pretty steep, I'll say, because I didn't want to take away from the length of the unit. But you continue those steps on the following side, and there I am checking for symmetry, because that is very important in this process. You don't want one side to be juicier than the other, or one side to be flatter than the other. So definitely check your symmetry as you go along with this, and please take your time. This took me like an hour. I just condensed it. But here you can see me parting again, see where that pin is. That's about where my ear would be. And I'm using the guide again to cut with that gradient. Parting again and following the gradient. Now, I will admit, when you start backing up off that frontal, it's kind of hard to part the hair, but just be focused on symmetry. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's layers, you know? They're supposed to be fun. As long as your lengths are sensible when you're done, then you'll be good. But definitely don't stress out if you're like, I'm only 2 inches from the right track and I'm 4 inches from the left track. Like, no, it doesn't really matter. Unless your layers are super like staggered, it won't matter. And here you can see me continue to comb the hair forward, and I'm still using my same guide to maintain length. If you want to straight volume, go for a less steep cut. But I'm going back on the other side and I'm combing the hair forward and just making sure nothing's too harsh, because I am using scissors, so this makes this longer and more troublesome. But then when I'm done making sure of that, I make a part down the middle of my head going horizontally, and I check for symmetry once again. Here I am shearing and thinning out parts that just don't make sense. They're too long or whatever. Checking again for symmetry, and then you see me pull all of that hair forward and go refer back to the guide and cut just a little bit longer than the guide. When I say a little bit, I mean like a centimeter. And if you want steep layers, I will just cut right where the guide is. Here I am continuing to pull more hair forward and follow the same guidelines, just checking for symmetry and using the guide to guide me. Now if you see those side pieces I left out, because I wasn't really sure how short I wanted to go on those sides, I didn't want to cut them with the guide and end up with it too short. So luckily you can always go back and fix anything when you're done, because like I'm the type of person, when I cut some hair, I'll be cutting on it for a couple days just to get it to my liking. So don't cut too much out at first, is basically what I'm trying to say. But here I'm combing all of the hair forward. Thought I was gonna cut it, got scared, so I combed it all backward. And I'm continuing to wet it, but you can see those layers kind of coming through, you know? Especially towards that front section, which is what I was really focused on. But I'm refining my middle parts so I can now parts the hair completely down the middle and pull all of the hair forward once again to make sure that the gradient is to my liking. And I probably should have said this earlier, but excuse the chair or the ladder. The ladder is really convenient because I was swinging this wig around trying to get this cut right. As you look, you just saw me. I was pushing her all around. But I would definitely recommend using a ladder or a chair because I usually have it attached to my desk at home, and I'm like bobbing and weaving around the wig trying to cut it. So this is just better. But here I am, you know, in my final stages of cutting, checking for symmetry, and I will tell you, when it comes to this part, make sure that you have all of the hair pulled out from underneath the wig in the back, because you won't be able to see that. I'm cutting away because one side feels thicker than the other, and I cannot quite understand why. The side I keep cutting at feels thicker. Not knowing, when I had reattached the wig, I didn't properly like situate the hair. So here I am finding that out. I'm like, oh wow, okay, makes sense now. Still checking to make sure things are flowing right before I'm just like, this will do. I'm adding a bit of wrapping lotion to the front of the hair to help it lay flatter and just get those hairs out of the way, because you know, a lot of wigs do have a little flyaways that you may find to get in your way when you're trying to install the wig. So I'm just brushing everything back, making sure that everything's flat. And I will add that I did customize this hairline myself. It did not come as a widow's peak. I have to make all of my wigs widow's peaks, basically. So yeah, I can make a video on that later with my other wig if you guys are interested. But I waited for the wrapping lotion to dry, and then I went in with my hot comb to further smooth and flatten pieces. Then you'll see me applying my cheese serum to give shine and help it straighten well, and my lace tint spray in the color Mocha by that brand. I'll link it down below. And the more sprays, the more color you get, but I was running low, so I sprayed more color on later. But here you see all that body, that volume, that shape. That creates a look like this. It's very fun, youthful, flippy, have a tendril in the front, and it frames my face well. So I hope you guys found this helpful.